It's 2024, Sean Payton's second year coaching the Broncos, and the team's just finished its 8th straight season without a playoff appearance. The hole the Falcons are in right now is the hole Denver was in just 2 years ago. But then Bo Chapman-Nix enters the picture, wins the starting job, and helps the team to its first 10-win season and first playoff berth since Omaha hung his Spurs up. You might expect the next step up from that to be a gradual improvement. Before Sean was coach, the team was 5-12. His first season, they went 8-9, and now with Bo, they're 10-7 with a number 7 seed. That's all gradual improvement. I don't need them to win the Super Bowl or anything. Maybe next year they'll get like 11 wins with a 5 or 6 seed or something, right? No! 14 wins, 11-game win streak, number 1 seed, winning the AFC West, franchise single-season sack record, top 3 in a billion stats, and going back to the AFC Championship. I hate to be that guy, but that's not gradual. That's suddenly becoming the most important guy at work. That's the NFL equivalent of, hey, I kind of like you, to, so when are we getting married? In like a month. Even before that season, there's people saying Broncos and Super Bowl in the same sentence again. Even more are saying it before the postseason starts, and lots of them are probably going to put this team in their top 5 conversation for this year. And I'm over here still trying to come to terms with how this good team suddenly exists in my life now. For 8 years, Denver didn't really have a personality you could hold on to. Everything was changing each year, consistency was elusive, promises weren't kept, results were disappointing. Now suddenly, this team's playing like it's 2014, winning games in primetime, smashing records, reaching the top of the conference, and getting saturated in so much attention it doesn't feel real. It feels like I'm getting whiplash because I haven't sufficiently recovered from this team being bottom table for as long as they were. And now, suddenly, they're playing so well that they generated a solid 30 minutes where I genuinely believed they were going to win another Super Bowl. They improved so quickly, I started wondering if somehow they'd improved too quickly. Now, objectively, that is a silly statement. Every team, every person improves at different rates. There isn't a timetable for that. Denver had already improved a ton in Sean's first 2 seasons, and last year, when they ended the near decade-long playoff drought, there were lots of ways the season after that could have ended and still have been an improvement. Maybe they win a wildcard game. Maybe they get 11 wins. Maybe they get second in the division instead of third. There was lots of space for the Broncos to still go up. And then they started getting hype.
Would you call the Broncos a Super Bowl contender?
Yes. Before last season began, when people were suddenly saying Denver was in Super Bowl contention, I remember saying to myself out loud, I don't need them to win the Super Bowl this year. They have so many other results that they could have hit instead, and I would have been perfectly happy with it. They just skipped past most of them and went straight to injecting me with Lombardi hopium out of nowhere. But again, because this is happening so soon after the Let's Ride nightmare, there's still this uncanny sense that maybe we haven't truly woken up from it yet. Like, surely this is too good to be true. You know the rooting for the meteor meme? The Meteor actually won for once. Denver might as well not have won in the divisional for the price that was paid afterward. Which is crazy because there was still a chance they might have made the Super Bowl until Robert Kraft bribed God to accidentally leave the fridge open for a few hours.
This to tie the game, and the kick, no good!
But the more I think about it, the more I wonder if Denver actually dodged a bullet because New England went to the Super Bowl and the whole world watched the fate Denver could have suffered instead. First, Seattle was clearly the best team last year. The Super Bowl just confirmed what we saw all season. I do think a healthy Bo Nix Broncos could beat the Patriots, but I don't think they could pass the Seahawks. And the bowl is the worst stage of all time to get deleted like they did. Second, you saw the headlines. Every week someone new was going, "Whoa, is the dynasty back? It's only been 6 years." And then Drake May can't even load into the lobby, and it spawns new headlines, dragging him through the mud, and feels like he lost all of his aura overnight. The Patriots, too. They made the bowl in their first year with Vrabel, got a ton of attention really fast, and then collapsed and got reversed on even faster. But most importantly, the whole idea of a team potentially succeeding too quickly, New England might have inadvertently just become the poster child for that. They got out of the trenches just 6 years after Brady left, went from 4-13 one year to 14-3 the next, and you know how Denver had a plethora of options for what improving over last season could have looked like? New England's list was longer, and they skipped all of them. Now, the only thing that could possibly make the 2026 campaign an improvement over last year is winning Super Bowl 61. That's it. In 1 year, they no longer have any more space to go up on a year-over-year basis unless they do that, because their first year with Drake and Vrabel set the bar at an unconscionable level. Thank God that is not something my team has to worry about. I don't need my team to win the Super Bowl this year. There's still some outcomes Denver could achieve in 2026 that don't have to go quite that high. Maybe it's getting a wild card win and going to the divisional without needing to use the bye to skip the line. Maybe it's winning a divisional game without the quarterback getting injured. Maybe it's winning the conference championship. Like, the list isn't as long as it was last season, but there are still some items on it. And the bonus of Denver ending the season on any of those results would be more of that erosion of disbelief that this franchise has really bounced back from the dark ages. It would help diminish that feeling of moving too quickly. Like 2 years ago, most of Broncos country didn't know who Bo Nix was, and now there's a whole armada of fans who'd amputate their own ankle and give it to him if it meant that he could have played more last year. Like, if that's not moving too quickly, I don't know what is. But the more time we get to see this team play at a high level, the less premature this success will feel. They have set expectations somewhat high in their own way, though. Bo's made the dance in both years as a pro. Sean's already the 4th winningest coach in team history. And last season, 14 wins, 11 wins in a row, new franchise sack record, and only 4 away from the league record. Like, I get it. And they must too. To improve on last year is still going to be a Herculean effort. But it's not as bad as New England's current dilemma. They now suddenly have the same issue as Burrow with the Bengals, or Purdy with the Niners, or even now Wemby with the Spurs. They made the championship as a rising star in his 2nd year, and because they couldn't win it then, now might be chasing that high for the rest of their careers without any guarantee they'll have a chance to come that close to it again. They absolutely could go and win it all at some point, and I certainly hope that they get their shots. But especially in Joe's case, it feels like the grumbling has only grown more year over year, and that's got to be one of the most annoying things to just have in the back of your head, whether you work for the team or you're just a fan. That's not a problem I have to worry about. I have to worry about whether this team can win a chip before we run out of money to pay all of the star players we've raised over the years. That's going to be one fat check. Also, I don't need my team to win the Super Bowl, so long as another team does that hasn't won one in, like, I don't know, 10 years? Like, I want to see the Lions get theirs before time runs out on the Dan Campbell experience. I'd love to see the Ravens get one to all but guarantee Lamar gets his gold jacket. You can't keep Buffalo away from it forever. Unless you're an AFC West team, then you totally can. I've got no problem with the Niners finally winning one in the Kyle Shanahan era. Maybe there's even a chance Joe Shiesty gets his, with or without Cincinnati. Like, as much as I want my team to win every game and become the next dynasty, the narrative part of my brain knows that there's a ton of other stories that deserve good endings in their own right. And it's cruel that not all of them do, but that's how sports works. Competition breeds the best narrative. Also, I bet most of you are in the same boat as me. You're not requiring your team to win everything next year because they're probably not all that close to winning a title yet. And if they are close, I guarantee you there's probably a few other goals that they could end on first before having to worry about a championship win being the only way for them to improve over the previous year. Even if it's just as simple as getting one more win than last year, it doesn't need to be incredibly drastic to still be meaningful. So much of sports is locked into binary thinking. You either win or you lose. You're either the team that triumphs, whether in a game, a season, or a championship opportunity, or you're the team that failed. But if you only see things that black and white, it deletes so much more nuance that's important to the story of how you got there. If you're the kind of person who's miserable if you're not winning all the time, you're going to be miserable in sports most of the time. Like, unless you win the title one year. Then it's bliss until you have to defend that title the next year, which statistically most teams don't do. So you're going to have a considerably better time in sports acknowledging successes that aren't as big as winning it all every year. Does it sting that Carolina couldn't win a wildcard game at home, or that New Orleans only had one more win than last season, or that Denver got smited out of nowhere? For sure. But all of them improved over the year before, and all of them have a lot of runway to do even better next season. It just doesn't require them to win a championship to do that. New England? You know what? Congrats on winning the AFC. I have no idea how you're going to follow that up this year. And I also suspect I'm probably going to have an easier time watching football in 2026 because I don't need my team to win the Super Bowl this year. God bless Bo Nix.